Okay, picture this for a second. You're standing right on the edge of a boat. You take one single, deep breath, and you dive. You're descending 60 meters down into the dark, crushing, freezing depths of the ocean. No oxygen tank, no wetsuit. And you just stay there for 1 minute, then 5, then 10, all the way up to 13 minutes straight. Could you do it? I mean, for almost all of us, the answer is an absolute, definitive no. But for a select group of human beings on this planet, that's not some crazy superpower. That's honestly just a regular Tuesday.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going on a seriously incredible journey into the hidden, awe-inspiring potential of the human body and mind. We are going to look at 8 extraordinary tribes from all around the world who possess physical and cognitive abilities so extreme they have completely baffled modern scientists. We're talking about folks who literally defy what we consider standard human biology.
So, here's our roadmap for the journey today. We're going to kick things off with the masters of the deep, then move right into surviving extreme altitudes and heat, explore the super senses of the wild, uncover how language actually rewires our reality, and finally, look at how we might unleash our own hidden potential. Let's get into it.
Section 1. Masters of the Deep. The Ocean Tribes of Andaman and Asia.
We're starting out with the Moken tribe over in the Andaman Sea. Now, these kids learn to swim before they can even walk. And you know how it is. If you or I open our eyes underwater without goggles, everything's just a blurry, foggy mess, right? Well, researchers found out that Moken children have crystal clear, highly detailed underwater vision. It's like they're looking through perfectly clean glass. They can easily spot tiny stones or fish all the way at the bottom of the sea. When scientists actually tested this, European kids saw nothing but a wall of fog, while the Moken kids were retrieving tiny objects in the blink of an eye.
See, water completely changes how light refracts, which essentially blinds a normal human eye. But the Moken have developed this staggering ability, pupil constriction. They involuntarily shrink their pupils down to this tiny pinhole the second they go underwater. This changes the light refraction and effectively bends the laws of physics. But hold on, because here is the absolute craziest part. Scientists actually managed to partially train normal, everyday kids to do this exact same pupil trick, which proves this isn't just some exclusive genetic mutation. It's a dormant capability buried deep inside me and you.
Shifting gears to the Bajau tribe in Asia. Just wrap your head around this number. 13 minutes. These are people who live in wooden houses suspended right over the sea, spending a huge chunk of their lives underwater. To put that in perspective, the world's most elite, highly trained divers would literally pass out if they tried to hold their breath at 60 meters for even 5 minutes. But the Bajau, they regularly push past 10 all the way to 13 minutes, and they are completely unfazed by it.
So how are they pulling this off? Well, the secret is purely biological. When scientists finally got in there and ran scans on the Bajau, the truth was mind-blowing. Their spleens are a full 50% larger than yours or mine. Now, your spleen acts as this massive storage bank for oxygen-rich blood. So the bigger the spleen, the more of a literal amphibian you become. And incredible as it sounds, this is a deep evolutionary shift. Even Bajau tribe members who never dive a single day in their lives are born with this massively enlarged, built-in oxygen tank.
Section 2. Surviving extremes, altitude, heat, and endless endurance.
I want you to imagine running for 200 kilometers. Not a 5K, not a standard marathon, 200 kilometers, non-stop, under a blistering, scorching sun, over brutal, jagged, rocky terrain. And then when you finally cross the finish line, you aren't even gasping for air. You're just breathing completely normally. Sounds impossible, right? Well, this is literally just everyday life for the Tarahumara tribe deep in Mexico. They actually call themselves the light-footed people.
How on earth do they do it? Get this, a 67-year-old Tarahumara man once entered this grueling 100-mile ultramarathon in the U.S. wearing simple sandals and effortlessly beat out young, elite professionals. Scientists realized that unlike normal runners who strike the ground hard with their heel, which just wreaks havoc on your joints, the Tarahumara naturally use a forefoot strike. This brilliant technique absorbs 3 times the shock. But wait, it gets crazier. While running these insane distances, their heart rates stay basically identical to what they'd be if they were just sitting on the couch drinking tea. Their bodies literally do not register the run as a stressful effort.
Okay, let's go from scorching heat to the freezing heights of Mount Everest to talk about the Sherpas. Up at 8,800 meters, you enter what's called the death zone. Oxygen drops to a third of normal levels. For a regular person, your lungs start to collapse, your brain literally starts hallucinating, and your heart is beating out of your chest just trying to stay alive. Yet the Sherpas, they just casually stroll up this peak. Scientists fully expected to find their blood just totally packed with extra red blood cells, but instead, they found a genetic miracle, the EPACE1 gene. It's a unique mutation that acts like a hyper-efficient internal engine. It lets their bodies produce massive amounts of energy while burning only a tiny fraction of the oxygen.
And the backstory of this biological cheat code? It's ancient. You won't find the EPAS1 gene in any other modern humans on Earth. The Sherpas inherited it from the Denisovans, a completely different ancient human species that went extinct like 40,000 years ago. So, while the Denisovans vanished from history, this superhuman genetic trait survived perfectly intact within the bloodline of the Sherpas, allowing them to conquer Everest dozens of times without ever needing a sip from an oxygen tank.
Section 3. Super Senses of the Wild. How the Brain Upgrades the Eyes.
So, the Maasai warriors, who live out on the vast open plains of Kenya and Tanzania, possess visual acuity that is a staggering 3 times stronger than the average human. If you look up into the sky, they can casually identify the exact species of a bird flying 2 whole kilometers away. And at night, in pitch-black darkness, they can spot the subtle movements of wild predators as if they're walking around wearing military-grade night vision goggles. It's unreal.
Naturally, doctors rush to examine their eyes, fully expecting to find a totally different anatomical structure. Maybe a mutated lens or some unique kind of retina. But, plot twist, their eyes are anatomically identical to ours. The secret isn't in the eye at all, it's in the brain. Surviving for generations out on those open plains, constantly scanning the horizon for lions and protecting their herds, practically forced their brains to develop a hyper-fast image processing system. Their brains decode light and visual data at a ridiculously high resolution that our everyday brains just filter out as noise.
Section 4. How Language Rewires Reality. The Cognitive Superpowers. Now, what happens when a culture is entirely missing a specific word? Well, it changes everything. Over in the Namibian desert, the Himba tribe doesn't have a word for the color blue. So to them, the sky and trees are all just different shades of green. And because their brain isn't busy categorizing blue, it became incredibly hypersensitive to green. They can instantly spot microscopic variations in green shades that are literally invisible to the European eye. They see a world we're blind to. We also see this with the Aborigines, who lack words for left or right, and the Pirahã tribe, who completely lack past and future tenses. Let's look a little closer at those last two, because they're fascinating.
The Aborigines in Australia are the oldest living culture on Earth, dating back 65,000 years. You could drop them in the middle of a totally barren desert. No GPS, no map, no landmarks, not even stars in the sky, and they will know exactly where they are and exactly how to navigate hundreds of kilometers to find a water well. Why? Because their language simply doesn't use the concepts of left or right. They only speak in absolute cardinal directions: north, south, east, west. Even if you lock them in a pitch-black room, their language forces their brain to maintain a flawless, always-on internal compass.
And then, we have the Pirahã tribe, deep in the Amazon. Imagine, just for a second, waking up with absolute zero regret about yesterday and zero panic about tomorrow. The Pirahã language has no past or future tense whatsoever. Every single sentence they speak is firmly rooted in right now. Because they literally lack the vocabulary to describe tomorrow, they cannot biologically stress about it. Scientists tested their cortisol, the human stress hormone, and found it resting at the absolute lowest baseline ever recorded in human history. They are functionally immune to anxiety.
Section 5. Unleashing your hidden potential, the true human baseline. When we step back and look at all this incredible evidence together, a really clear picture starts to emerge. The fact that normal kids can be trained to see like the Moken underwater, or that the Tarahumara's heart rate stay completely flat while running 200 kilometers, or that the Pirahã live with zero cortisol, it all points to one massive truth. These aren't magical mutations or sci-fi powers. They are the dormant, natural human baselines. The human body is a miraculous, infinitely adaptable machine, and somewhere along the line, most of us just kind of forgot how to use it.
I'm going to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. As we look at these amazing tribes thriving in extreme environments, we really have to ask ourselves, perhaps modern anxiety, our bad joints, our physical limitations, maybe they aren't actually human nature at all. Maybe they are simply the tax we pay for living in modern civilization. What if you still have these incredible latent powers locked inside of you, just waiting for the right environment or even just the right mindset to wake them up? Thank you so much for exploring this with me today,
and never ever stop wondering what you are truly capable of.